And yeah, we are here with our special guest, Amy O.
Hello.
And if you don't know already, Amy O is a performer based in Bloomington, an artist, and super exciting. We're super pumped to have her play Culture Shock on April 15th. So today is your opportunity, whether you're like a big fan or if you don't know a lot about her yet, to get to know Amy. And get to like know some of her music before you see her play at Dunn Meadow. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Where are you from, Amy?
I am originally from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Okay. What was it like growing up in Fayetteville? I've never been to Arkansas.
It was pretty nice. Fayetteville is pretty similar to Bloomington. It's a liberal bubble in a red state, and it's a university town.
What college is there?
University of Arkansas.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah. So... yeah, it was good. There was a really good music scene, a good all ages punk music hall, I guess you could say.
So when you were a kid, were you like tuned into the music scene?
Yeah, I was. My older brother played in bands around town, so that kind of got me going out at a pretty young age.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions? We can just do like an open discussion too. However you like. I don't need to just open up to you. You guys can talk whenever.
Sure. I guess like kind of stemming from that. When did you decide that you wanted to like pursue it like yourself, like with a solo project? Like I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I used to be really into theater when I was younger, so that was kind of my focus in high school and stuff. But then I went to Oberlin College in Ohio, and when I got there, I started teaching myself guitar, and I started teaching myself guitar through writing songs. So it was kind of the process really worked together for me.
Did you play music before college, or is it just more of like a listening experience for you?
Yeah, I played violin from when I was 5 to 13. I took lessons, so that helped. I did the Suzuki method, which is like an ear training method instead of learning how to read music so much. So it gave me a good ear, I guess, but can't read music.
Can you still not read music?
What'd you say?
You still can't read music?
Just a touch, yeah.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I did like choir.
I can't read music,
stuff like that.
But I'm not.
Yeah, not really.
That's cool.
I'm
though.
familiar.
Gotcha. Okay. So, so you learned to what made you want to learn guitar in college? What was that decision based on?
Let's see. Well, my family is all really musical. And so I guess that was one thing, is it just seemed like I should because everyone else played guitar. But yeah, I really just wanted to be able to write songs, and I guess I was just drawn towards guitar as the vehicle of being able to do that.
What were like some of the groups at the time that you were like listening to a lot or inspired by?
I was really into Mira. She was a big inspiration for me in high school and college, and I was really into doo-wop music.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I was in, like, the first band I was in was a doo-wop band, and we dressed up as zombies and would sing doo-wop songs called Murderina and the Doo-Wop Massacre.
That's so funny.
Oh my God. I want to hear more about this. Can you
Unfortunately, we don't have any recordings.
Okay. Is there like a reprise, like get together reunion in the works or anything like that?
I'm still good friends with some of the people from that band.
So potentially.
Yeah, so it could happen.
It could happen. Okay, so let's get to our first song. It's I understand it's the title track off of Arrow, right?
Yep, off of my last album.
And Arrow is the most recent album from Amy O. But I understand there's some more music in the works. Can we talk about that at some point?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the music and then we'll do that later.
Storm in the bottom of my cup. Visions of summer rides. To-do lists on my mind. I live under the bridge. No, you cannot come through my skin.
And we're back. You're listening to 99.1 FM in Bloomington, and you're listening to the WIUX Showcase. My name is Ethan Brown. We've got some of my committee members in today, and we're talking to Amy O. So before the break, we were talking about college, and you went to Oberlin, right?
Yeah.
Before we get back into that, tell me about the song Arrow, and like what's it inspired by? Like how did your writing process lead you to make that song?
That was actually the first song that I wrote where my goal was to write a song that I could play with a band, and it would be like louder, faster music than what
were you writing before?
I guess I felt like I was doing more solo, kind of a bit quieter or more folky sounding, and I really wanted to transition into writing more like rock music.
Sure.
So that was the first song that was ever like my goal, sitting down to do it. And I started it out actually writing it slower, and then I just kind of sped it up and felt pretty happy with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's tell me about the theme behind the album, and also like that song specifically, like.
The theme kind of for me was like that I had been putting out music in a very kind of casual way, like self-releasing and just recording by myself on my computer and not putting too much thought into it. So with Arrow, it was a metaphor of me putting like an arrow out into the world.
Like a focus.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm shooting this arrow out
that's
into
really cool.
my target, and like I'm being more, I guess, thoughtful and conscientious about like what I'm putting out there. And it was like the first album that I ever did in a studio.
Okay.
And with a band backing me up.
And was that released on Windspear?
That was released on Let's Pretend,
Let's Pretend.
which is a Bloomington label.
Tell me about. Well, maybe we should go back to Oberlin, then we'll get to that later. So yeah, let's go. Let's go in order. Tell me, what were you studying at Oberlin, and what was it like to be there?
I studied theater and dance, and it was great. I feel like it's just a really cool environment as far as the people that are there. Like I was surrounded by really talented and creative people, and it was a bit intimidating at times. But
why did you decide to go there in the first place? What attracted you to Oberlin?
Well, I knew about it because both of my parents went there, actually,
Okay.
and they met there. And I think that actually made me not want to go there
Yeah, I
in
can see
some
that.
ways. But then it had always like been a school that I knew about. And I don't know, I guess I considered myself to be kind of a weirdo, kind of alternative. And
That's fair.
it seemed like a school for people like that. So, and I knew I wanted to leave Arkansas too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're at Oberlin. That's where you first. And by the way, you guys can interject with questions whenever you have them.
Can I interject?
Yeah, do it. Look like you're about to.
we were just talking about Arkansas and the move to Ohio. Would you say that your roots in Arkansas affected your music or like your style at all?
Yes, but not in the way that you would think. Like not in a Southern way, but I think my roots in growing up around a really vibrant like punk DIY scene definitely affected how I think of music.
And then did your style change when you got to Oberlin? And then also like I want to ask about Bloomington later too, but we'll save that.
Yeah. I think just at Oberlin I was just starting to explore songwriting. So I feel like basically that was like 13 years ago basically. And so it kind of just took me a long time of exploring to like get to the point where I'm at now.
So what were let's talk about like your first steps after college, and then we can get to the next song. So you graduate, and where do you head after that?
I went to Northampton, Massachusetts.
Oh my God, my mom's her best friend lives there. So
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
I've been
funny.
there. It's Northampton, or maybe there's a couple like towns in that area that are all called something Hampton, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
one of
There's
them.
East Hampton and
I don't remember
Yeah.
which one, but like I know there's a bunch of universities there, and like
Yeah.
And then there's like
Five
5
College.
towns.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's so beautiful out there.
Yeah, it is.
So what did you go out there to do?
I had an internship at a dance center.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because I did dance. And yeah, then I ended up staying there for 5 years.
At the dance center?
No, just in the area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were you doing there?
I was working at a charter school with little kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a few other jobs, just kind of.
And were you
Odd
still like
jobs.
performing or playing music?
I wasn't really playing out very much. I was kind of just working on stuff quietly
That's
on
fair.
my own. I did start a band with a friend called Cat Cat Tiger Cat that was a 2-piece, kind of a folky
Cool.
acoustic thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It went well.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah, it was just a good step in like getting comfortable with playing
Mhm.
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get back into that, but let's play our next song. Remind me what it's called again?
Deep Throat.
Deep Throat. And tell me a little bit about Deep Throat.
Okay. Well, I guess it's just pretty feminist song. I think it's like one of the most overt songs I've ever written lyrically, as far as just like being about, I don't know, feminism. for
All
me.
right. And this is the WIOX Showcase with Amy O, and we're listening to Deep Throat.
Deep throat, I know you didn't find it easy. It's over now, it must be free to ride your own bike. Your hair, it is so silver in the moonlight, floating like water, baby, rise high. I like the way, I like the way, I like the way you signal. I know the language of the free road. They told me life would make me look good. I don't wanna look good. That's how they do it in the dark. Tomorrow's waiting with a new start. You're gonna be you're gonna be you're gonna be okay. Nobody's ever gonna take away the way the wind feels up against my face. I like the love lines best. That's not all I put a spell on you. Here's all the heartache that you put me through. How do you think? How do you think? How do you think it feels?
And we're back, and that was Deep Throat with Amy O. Okay, so first of all, do you guys have anything you want to ask about that song?
I guess you said it was a feminist-inspired song. Was there a certain time in your life or an event that caused you
Yeah.
to write that? Is there inspiration for it?
That's a good question.
I think just, generally, yeah, good question. Man, I feel like it's just from like my whole life of feeling kind of trying to overcome the disease of measuring your self-worth through like men, how men see you. Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear it at home, but I'm snapping.
No offense, but
No, I get
no, but
that.
it's just something I think to work on, and that feels really wonderful to have overcome.
Was
So,
that the message behind the song?
Yeah, I think so, basically, and just kind of like. I remember, like, I read this essay one time that really stuck with me, where a woman was talking about like how she sat next to a man at a concert, and he kind of looked at her, and it made her like distracted, like, oh, what does he think of me? And then she wasn't able to pay attention to the music the whole time.
Yeah.
But then she rode her bike home, and she was just like present with the bike ride and the moon, and so I think weirdly that essay kind of informed the
Inspired
song.
you a little
Yeah.
bit. So I know this question is kind of like, especially, so I listen to a lot of dance music, and like whenever I listen to an interview with a female DJ, the question that I'm about to ask is always asked. But because there's not that many female DJs, and so there's always like the question of what are the challenges that come up. And I feel like it's sort of an overplayed question, but since we're on the subject, I want to ask you, like, what do you think is different about being a female performer in terms of like maybe like how your audience reacts, or like what are the specific challenges that come up, or are there challenges that come up? I don't know if you want to dive into that. I feel like it's such a cliche question. But it's an interesting question.
It's interesting. I'm putting together a zine right now that's like interviewing different women musicians. So it's something that I'm interested in as well. Like a collection of, it's sort of like a self-published book.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think, I mean, one thing is that I think sometimes people just assume like you don't know certain things, or they like sound people maybe will like not take me as seriously,
like assume you don't have the technical skills,
or just like question like how I want to set my amp, or like the classic thing of like, oh, here, let me get that and like adjust the volume settings,
like
maybe
when
that
you know
have
how to do it.
and you're like, no, I have that specifically set for a reason. But I mean, in some ways I feel like people are like really into diversifying the music scene right now, just in general, like in the music scene that I'm interested in. So in some ways I almost feel like it makes it easier, like in that way, that it's like people are into not just promoting like straight white men, I guess. So
that's fair. Okay.
I don't know. But I couldn't really compare because I just have my own experience.
That's fine. That's interesting. Do you guys have any other questions? Okay, we can keep going. So you're living in Northampton. Did you enjoy living there? Like, was that kind of, like when you look back on that, was that like a good part of your life?
Yeah, it was really good. I feel like musically, for some reason, I didn't really click with the area. So
why do you think that would be? Because it's a pretty musical area, right?
Yeah, it is. It's just the kind of music. It was kind of like either like you were in like a hardcore band, or you were like very folky singer-songwriter.
Gotcha.
And I felt like I wasn't either of those. So I'm sure there was other stuff happening as well. But yeah, I just didn't feel that there was like a place for me and what I was doing as much.
And is that like sort of what inspired you to move on from Northampton?
Yeah, I did want to move on and go somewhere where I could pursue music more and feel more excited about the scene. Okay.
Well, let's get to some music right now so we can get through as much music as possible.
Yeah.
What's our next song called?
Well, this is not a song of mine, but it's a song that inspires me called Baby It's You by the Shirelles.
Okay. It's Baby It's You by the Shirelles, and we're here with Amy O on the WIUX Showcase.
It's not the way you smile that touched my heart. It's not the way you kiss that tears me apart. Oh, many nights roll by. I sit alone at home and cry over you. What can I do? When baby, it's you. Baby, it's you. You should hear what they say about you. Cheat, cheat. They say you've never been true. Oh, doesn't matter what they say. I know I'm gonna love you any old way. What can I do when it's true? I don't want nobody, no. Baby, it's you. Baby, it's you. 'cause baby, it's you. Baby, it's you. Don't leave me alone. Come on home.
And remind me what that song was called?
Baby, It's You,
Baby It's You by
the Shirelles.
the Shirelles. And we're back with Amy O. Tell me about that song and why you chose it to play it today. Like, what's inspiring about it?
I'm just a big fan of doo-wop and girl groups, and I use a lot of the. I guess I just feel like I use those melodies a lot in my songs, and I write a lot of backing vocal harmony parts into my songs as I'm writing them, and a lot of that is inspired by girl groups.
For sure. Do you guys want to ask anything right now?
Well, going back to like kind of like your journey as an artist, what brought you to Bloomington from Massachusetts?
Well, so before I moved here from Massachusetts, I lived in New York for a year in Brooklyn. And,
Oh, wow.
And then
I'm kind of jealous. That's cool.
it was fun.
What were you doing there, like work-wise?
I worked at a girls' rock camp.
Oh, wow.
They
okay.
had like a year-round program, and I was like called the clubhouse coordinator. So I just kind of worked with girls there.
What
it
did
was great.
What did you learn doing that, or like what did you get out of it?
Oh, it
generally?
was wonderful. I guess I don't know if I learned so much as I just was surrounded by a really great community.
For sure.
And I think it gave me a lot of confidence in my own music.
What's living in Brooklyn like more generally?
It's probably different for a lot of people, but I guess for me it was I didn't like go out as much as I thought I would because I got kind of overwhelmed.
With like just the size of it?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like
I feel that.
the effort that everything takes.
To get from one place
Yeah,
to another.
yeah. But it was great. Like I only had that job for a year, so it kind of limited my time there.
So you were only in Brooklyn for a year?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And there was just funding for 1 year for me to have
Mm-hmm.
that job. But I think that was the right amount of time because I'm really into being in nature a lot.
So you don't think
So-
you could spend like an extended amount of time living in a city? You're not like
Yeah,
a city
I don't
person
think
per
that's
se.
really I really liked it, and I feel like it brought out a cool different side of me that was kind of like more moving at a faster pace
Yeah.
than I do here.
Yeah, that's fair. But you're not like someone who can live there.
Yeah,
permanently. That's fair.
I go to the woods a lot, and I really like being in nature. so.
Okay. Is that like something that inspires your music?
I think it just like keeps me in a good place in
Like
my
grounded
head,
and centered.
which helps with songwriting
Okay,
practice.
fair enough. All right, so you're in Brooklyn for a year, and then what happens after that?
I started dating someone who lives here. We're still together. He's the drummer in Amy O.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
And so that was kind of like the main thing that brought me here. But then I also got my job that I also currently have at Rhinos Youth Center. The position was opening up, and I applied, and I got it. So I came.
What do you like? Do you like working at Rhinos?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And what?
like it.
Tell me like about that position a little bit and like what you're doing there.
I'm the assistant director, and I also make zines with teenagers.
Oh,
so
cool.
we make like these little self-published books with
By the way, how
writing
many?
and art.
Sorry,
Oh,
how many
it's
years
okay.
ago was this when you first came to Bloomington? And
It was
got-
about 4 years ago.
Okay, for
Yeah.
sure. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
Okay, so you're working at Rhinos, and then is that sort of when Amy O starts to come together, like as a project?
Yeah, when I moved here, it really helped. Well, I had the goal specifically moving here of like really getting Amy O off the ground. And I knew that it was just such a good place for music.
Yeah. There's
so-
it's pretty obvious if you're like
Yeah.
involved with WIUX or anything that like Bloomington's a really cool town for music.
And I was already a fan of many musicians who live here. So
Okay.
yeah.
You want to shout out some musicians
Sure.
that you're a fan of?
Well, my other band, Brenda's Friend,
Sure.
I was a big fan of Aaron Toby, who is my bandmate in that band.
Were you a fan of her before?
Yeah,
you
well,
even moved here?
we knew each other,
Okay.
and I was a fan, a friend and a fan.
When
Yeah.
did Brenda's, and by the way, Brenda's friend played at Culture Shock last year. So this isn't the first time Amy's going to be performing. Well, it'll be the first time in Dunmeadow, but not the first time.
because we played at Rhinos.
Yeah, Culture Shock was at Rhinos last year, but not the first time at Culture Shock. Tell me, what came first, Amy O as a project or Brenda's friend? What?
Well, Amy O has been a project for like 13 years, but just in different forms. So Amy O came first.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when did Brenda's friend come together?
That started about 3 years ago.
Okay, cool. I want to ask more about that, but I feel like we're not making enough time for music.
Maybe we should play a Brenda's friend song. Do you want to
do
do
you have
that?
one on here?
Yeah, I
Tell
have.
me,
I brought a few that I
Sure.
wrote the songs. Let's see. Number 7
Number 7.
is
Would that
House
be
Down. That's the title
House
track
Down?
from
Okay.
our last album.
Sure, and this is Brenda's friend, one of Amy O's other projects, and it's called House Down. You're listening to the WIUX. And we are back on 99.1 FM. I'm here with some of my committee members. They're here asking questions. But mainly we're here with Amy O, who is super awesome, and she's one of our Culture Shock locals this year. So we're really pumped for like everyone who's playing Culture Shock. And if you listen to the showcase in the coming weeks, last week we had a House Olympics. That'll be up on our blog if you didn't catch it, probably today or tomorrow. All of my showcases are up on the blog. But yeah, anyway, I'll have all the locals for Culture Shock on the showcase, so you can get to know all of them. But today we're here with Amy. Amy, tell me, that song was from Brenda's friend, right?
Yeah.
And tell me what it was called again?
House Down.
And tell me about the song, like what inspired it, what's it about?
I wrote it after I watched the documentary about Daniel Johnston. I think it's called The Devil and Daniel Johnston, if anyone's seen it.
Sounds really familiar.
Yeah,
Daniel Johnston.
I really like him a lot, and I guess it's kind of random that I wrote it after that because it probably doesn't seem directly related, but it was inspired by watching that movie.
Who is Daniel Johnston? It's like on the tip of my tongue. I can't.
A really cool artist. I don't know.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
I'll
No,
have to
he's
check
from
that out.
Austin, Texas, and he like Kurt Cobain really liked him.
He's a musician?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
He's a musician.
Okay. I'm going to check him out.
Yeah, check him out.
Okay. So tell me more generally, like what your writing process is like. I know like some people will just like play until they sort of find their groove or like find their notes. And some people have like a really conscious thought in their head about like what they want to come out. Like where does it start and like how does it end when you're writing a song?
It's not always the same, but it usually starts with a little melody in my head and like maybe one or two phrases, and then I'll sit down with the guitar and try to like get a few chords to go along with it. And then I usually stop that process and just start writing without music.
Like lyrics?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
start like free writing with like whatever I want the feeling of the song to be.
Do you have like, when you're free writing, do you have like something that you want specifically out of it? Or are you just sort of writing what sort of comes to mind like immediately?
I guess I'll usually have like a general idea of what the song will be about, but I find that it works a lot better to write and then to create the melody out of the words instead of the other way
For
around.
sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to interject with any questions?
Would you say lyric is more important than melody, or the other way around?
Ooh.
I think melody is more
Interesting
important,
question.
or I put more thought into it. I don't put a ton of thought into lyrics. Like I kind of don't always understand what they mean, and I like it that way.
Very abstract. Yeah. Keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are your lyrics, so they're not literal, I guess you already answered the question. I was
Sometimes
thinking
they
about.
are, but I don't ever want them to be too literal. I like if they have like some double meaning or different ways of interpreting them.
Do they usually come like sort of out of a feeling, like what the words feel to you? Or is it sort of like I guess, yeah, maybe I'm asking the same question. Did that make any sense? Maybe not.
Let's see. Well, I think that it's kind of hard to explain, but I think it's just sort of it's like a feeling of like, oh, this song will have this certain feeling, and then sometimes I'll just think of like a specific word.
Sure.
Like I just wrote a song recently that I was like, I want the word synesthesia to be in the song. Like I don't know how I'll fit it in, but it just feels like it's right. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's cool. Let's get to another track actually, just so
Okay.
we can keep it rolling. What's our next track?
Cool. Let's see. Let's do number 10. So this is Hurricane off of my last album, Arrow.
All right, and you're listening to the WIUX Showcase with Amio.
Do you think we could have caused a hurricane? We were pulling at each other across 2 state lines. We might have stirred the air with our angry hearts. Water crashing down on power lines. It seemed fortuitous at the time, a stormy point to keep me inside. To keep a mother from her son, to keep us all in the dark of what was to come. I took pictures of myself to send to you. I looked so innocent, but really I was dying too. Maybe I took a life from fallen power lines, 'cause I was staying in a dark house, staying in a dark house, staying in a dark house.
And we're back on the WIUX Showcase with Amy O. So we're at a point where you're like in Bloomington you've been in Bloomington the past 4 years. And your most recent project, Arrow, came out in February, right? Or
Yeah.
not this February, but last year,
yeah,
right?
2016.
So like 2016. And what was that like when it came out?
It was great. It's always feels really nice to finally share something that you've been kind of working on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you toured to support that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So who did you tour with? Let's talk about like your band a little bit before we talk about
Yeah.
what touring is like.
Well, the band had a slightly different lineup at that point, but it was Justin Vollmer who plays drums, and he is also the singer-songwriter of the project Vollmer, which is really awesome. And then Madeline Robinson is the bassist and backing vocalist, and she's in the band Nice Try. And then at the time, Chris Clements was playing guitar with us, but he moved. But now Damian Shirelli plays guitar, and he's also in the band Laughing Gas.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aaron Denton plays keys with us, and he is the lead person of the band Spissy.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So everyone has their own
was Spissy at
thing
Culture Shock
going
last
on.
year too?
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So before we get into touring, I'm kind of curious. Like, obviously, when you're looking, so your band is kind of a backing band for you, right? Like, you write all the music, and
Yeah,
is
well,
that sort of
I write the songs, but they definitely help shape the songs a lot
Okay.
and write a lot of their own parts and stuff. So
for sure?
it's definitely a group effort.
So when you were like looking to form that band, when was that, by the way? When did you like decide that you wanted to have a band?
Well, it started with just Justin and Madeline playing with me about maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then from there, it sort of like built
Yeah,
into...
it's just got bigger and
Yeah.
bigger.
What obviously you're looking for like people who like can play music really well. But like
Number one requirement.
Yeah. What else do you think like makes them good bandmates? Like why do you like whenever you're performing live, you're with them. So like why?
Yeah.
What about them makes them like so good to play with and like be around?
Well, everyone I asked partly because I'm a big fan of their music, and I was hoping that they could, inject some of what I love about what they do into my project.
For sure. No, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy.
They're also I like working with nice, reasonable, grounded people, and
Yeah.
they all fit that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you went on tour in April, right? Like of 2016.
Yeah.
In support. Where did you go? Support of Arrow.
It was kind of just like a little Midwest tour. We went to Chicago and Columbus and Cincinnati.
What was
Yeah,
that?
it wasn't too big.
Was that the first time you've done like a tour?
I've been on tour with Brenda's friend
Okay.
quite a few times.
For sure.
But yeah, haven't done as many Amy O tours.
And
But,
what was
yeah.
was it like a good experience for you? Or for the
Yeah,
band?
touring is always really fun. I mean, I don't typically go on very long tours, so I think
Sure.
it's keeps it fresh.
What was like, did you notice differences in like the crowds in Chicago versus Bloomington, or like how people reacted to your music?
Well, I really like playing for strangers. I feel like it's kind of liberating.
People who have like no connection to you
Yeah.
until they
and
hear
because
you.
it makes you feel, if they're into it and paying attention, it makes you feel like you've got something going right.
For sure.
Because it's not just
Yeah.
your friends
Yeah.
like supporting you.
It's totally just people who
Which
don't
is
know you
great
and
when
just
you're-
like your music.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you guys, before we get to another song, what questions do you guys have?
What is like the main difference, I guess, between your two main projects, so Brenda's Friend, which is a 2-person, and then Amy O, like touring and making music?
The difference between it?
Yeah, well, differences.
Well, I
think
think-
another one.
Yeah. I mean, Brenda's Friend is a lot more collaborative because we write the songs more together. I feel like with Amy O, I just kind of feel more comfortable like making the decisions as far as the songs, and I write all the songs. So it feels like more of like, this is my exact creative vision kind of project. I think Brenda's Friend is like more stripped down because it's just two people.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Is
Yeah.
it just sort of like you and is it what was the other name of
It's not Brenda,
it's
but
not
it's
Brenda.
Aaron.
Aaron. Okay.
Yeah, Aaron
That's what
Toby.
I thought.
Yeah,
I was like, is it Aaron? Because it's called Brenda's Friend.
Right.
So maybe it's Brenda.
Brenda.
So yeah, where did Brenda come from?
It was just kind of a random.
Did you have a
process.
Brenda? You didn't have a friend named Brenda?
No.
That's fair. It's a good band
We've
name.
been asked that a lot, and we just don't have a good answer for it.
You should make up a story.
I know.
Like you both had the same like great aunt and didn't know it. Or
Right. Yeah.
something.
I mean, Amy O is pretty obvious. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get to another song. What do we
Okay.
have?
Honeysuckle. It's off of Arrow.
All right. And you're listening to the WIUX Showcase. My name's Ethan. We're here with some of my committee members, and we're also really happy to have Amy O in the studio. And this is Honeysuckle off of her, would you call it your, it's not a debut album, right? Because you've had other
Debut
projects.
studio album.
Debut
you could
studio
call it.
album, Arrow. All right. Enjoy.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You will start your life again, again. From the sea to the bush, you'll push and you'll push. You'll push and you'll push. 70 miles up around the track. You'll want to look back. From Ohio to the east on to the Midwest, time pulls in the past. Drawing portraits of faces we haven't met yet. Honey, you're dead. From the sea to the bush, you'll push and you'll push. You'll push and you'll push. Honeysuckle, drawing portraits of faces we haven't met yet. Honey, you're dead.
And we're back. That was Honeysuckle off of Arrow, which is Amy Olsner's, right?
Yeah.
That's her full name, but her
My stage name
yeah,
is
stage
Amy O.
name. Can you spot the difference? But yeah, we're just hanging out in the studio, learning a little bit about Amy and like where her music comes from. And like, yeah, we're having a fun time. So remind me, where were we before that song? What were we talking about again?
I think we were talking about how I went on tour.
Yeah. Okay. So what was
Last
like,
April.
what was your favorite place to tour in? Or like, what was your favorite location?
Let's see. Honestly, like, I'm not remembering that, or like it's all kind of like
It's a little bit of a blur.
it's like blending together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, which tour was that?
Yeah.
But I really like playing in Chicago. My friend has a venue out of his house that's called
cool.
Pinky Swear, and it's
Okay.
just a really cool.
What
venue.
neighborhood is it in? Because I'm from Chicago,
It's- I
so maybe
think
I'll check it out.
it's- I'm not sure about this, but I think it's relatively close to Logan Square.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know Chicago very well,
For sure.
but yeah, it's like it's kind of a warehouse that people live in, and they
that's
have
awesome.
art shows and music. And
Yeah, well, I think Logan Square is kind of like a place for that kind of stuff, like
Uh-huh.
a little bit artsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. Okay, so let's get to, I don't know, what do you guys want to talk about?
Okay, I kind of want to talk about, so your sound, I was looking on Bandcamp and I couldn't, there was like no genre listed, and you were calling it rock earlier. Is that how you would describe it? Or what is like?
I like to call it basement pop.
Ooh,
Oh, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if I made that up or where it came
I
from.
don't know why
but-
that makes sense, but
But
it
yeah,
makes
because it's
sense.
kind of like grungy pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And would you say there's a big scene for that in Bloomington or the surrounding area?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you like? I mean, there's a lot of music in Bloomington, so how do you like sort of make your place there in Bloomington? Was that like initially? I mean, obviously now like you're pretty established, but like as a local artist, but it must have
Yeah.
initially been kind of a challenge to like sort of shine when there's so many other
yeah,
musicians
for
in
sure.
Bloomington.
I think it helped. Being in Brenda's Friend really helped with that because Aaron is a really established and respected
Yeah.
artist around town. So it was just like helped me meet a lot of people and get some good contacts and
For
stuff.
sure.
Yeah.
And what like do you see yourself in Bloomington like for the next I don't know however many like is Bloomington sort of like where you see yourself as home here?
I do, yeah. At first, I wasn't sure. I wasn't totally sold on it because I was like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
slow and quiet, and it's in Indiana. But it's really grown on me a lot.
What initially brought you here? Because I mean, you said you went from New York to Bloomington, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't go to college here. Like you didn't grow up here. So like, what? Did you know someone who lived here and was like, oh, come out, like hang out?
I was dating someone.
Oh,
who-
right.
Yeah.
You told me that. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We definitely talked about that already. And he lived here, right?
He
Okay.
lived here.
I'm sorry. I have like
No problem.
kind of a bad memory.
It's funny because I always feel kind of embarrassed at saying that as my reason.
No, that's like, I mean, it's as good a reason as
Yeah.
any, honestly.
Love.
Yeah, there you go. And he's the drummer in
Yeah.
in Amy O. See, I remembered that part. What do we want to play next?
I kind of want to play another song that's an inspiring song by somebody
Sure.
else.
What's it
it's
called?
number 6, and it's
Number
called
6.
No Aloha by the Breeders.
Oh, I like the name already. All right, let's get to it. You're listening to the WIUX Showcase with Amy O. Before it's, what time is it? It's 6:53, so we'll just probably play this song. We'll chat a little more, and then we'll play one more song and call it a day. I just want to make a few quick announcements. The showcase is taking a break because of spring break, so no showcase next week, no showcase the week after that. We're coming back on the 24th. Ooh, who do we have? I know it's a Culture Shock local act. I want to say, Flacco, Matthias Young, and who's the other rapper? Draco. Yeah, right? They'll be in the studio if all goes according to plan. And the week after that, we're working on, well, I shouldn't announce it yet, but because it's not set in stone, but I'm hoping to get, no, it is set in stone. We're going to have High Fiber on the 31st. So Draco, Flacco, and Matthias Young will be in the studio on the 24th, and then the 31st, we'll have the showcase with High Fiber. And those are two of our other locals. And we're working on getting a date book with Kevin Crowder. Sorry. Let's get to the music. What was the song called again?
No Aloha by the Breeders.
No Aloha by the Breeders. And you're listening to the WIUX Showcase with Amy O.
No bye, no aloha. Gone with a rock promoter. A rock promoter. I know I saw, and now may die.
almost out of time, but we do have time for a few more songs. And we're here with Amy O. It's the WIUX Showcase. We're having a lot of fun. Thank you for coming in, by the way.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been a good time. So tell me, we're kind of up to date on what you've been up to throughout your lifetime.
The whole story.
Yeah, we got the whole Amy O scoop. What's sort of like, what are you working on now? Like where you have one studio album out.
Yeah.
And you're playing at Culture Shock. And then what?
I just finished another album, and
So everything's like, it's recorded and
it's
written.
all done.
It's all done?
Good
Okay.
to go.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm releasing it with Windspear, a local label.
For sure.
We're going to put it out in July,
Okay.
and then we'll be going on tour to promote it. We're going to go to the East Coast at the end of July.
What's where do you think you've like, so we don't have any songs from that album to play today because it's not out yet, but sort of like give us the lowdown on like where you think from Arrow to this project. Does it have a name that you can tell us, by the way?
Yeah, it's called Elastic.
Elastic. So where do you think, like where have you gone from Arrow to Elastic, like musically or like in your head, like?
I think it's more focused stylistically. Like there's just, I think, an aesthetic that kind of carries through in all the songs that connects them all.
For sure.
And it's also a bit harder, like a bit louder, less quiet songs.
Okay. I think I thought we were going to be able to do two more, but we only have time for one song, by the way.
Cool.
So did you still want to do the
Let's do
Canteen, or do you want to do
number
the other one?
17.
Number 17? Okay.
Toast.
But yeah, are you excited for that album to come out?
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really excited. Yeah.
And
I'm a little impatient for it. It feels so far
are
away.
we going to get to hear any of the music off it at Culture Shock?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I've actually, if you see me live, I've been pretty much exclusively playing from that album.
Oh, okay, cool.
So,
cool.
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you for tuning in today. Anything else you want to say?
Thanks for having me. It was really fun.
No, for sure. It's been a blast. And yeah, if you enjoyed listening to Amy, she'll be at Dunmeadow on April 15th. This is.
Oh yeah, and I just thought of another thing.
What's
that
up?
people, if anyone wants to listen to more of my music, you can find it at amio.bandcamp.com.
Yep. Or
On the internet.
on the internet. Yeah. Yeah. So
It's also on Spotify.
yeah. Have a good weekend, guys. This is Toast, and that's off of Arrow, right?
Yeah, correct.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend. This was the WIUX Showcase with Amy O. Like I said, we won't be back for a while, but when we are, we're gonna have Flacco, Draco, Matthias Young, and then we're gonna have High Fiber. So check it for that.
Bye.